Heading into the season, he had the 4th best odds to win the Heisman Trophy. A couple games into that same year, people started asking how in the world is this guy even on scholarship?
Moving artist paying up next to him, Jeremy Johnson.
Meet Jeremy Johnson, the quarterback for the 6th ranked Auburn Tigers.
Johnson down the middle, 7 of 7!
In his first career start in the season opener against the Arkansas Razorbacks, he didn't even have an incompletion until the 2nd quarter. He was lighting them up, and we'll talk more about that later in the video. Just store that in the back of your memory because it comes back into play. What you really need to know about Mr. Jeremy Johnson is he was a Heisman frontrunner heading into the 2015 college football season, which at the time for me myself, I didn't understand the hype. The reason it didn't make any sense to me whatsoever, not even to the slightest bit, is because he hasn't proven himself. But you could say my opinion about him wasn't too popular because everybody else, they had him at the top of the Heisman race. Let me give you a better perspective. You couldn't talk about the Heisman race without bringing up the name Jeremy Johnson. There was article after article after article written about this young man. Right before the season, according to this list you're looking at, and there were some others, but we'll just take a look at this one, he had 10-1 odds. That was 4th best. I want you to understand how insane that is. He had better odds than Leonard Fournette, Derrick Henry, and Deshaun Watson. I think we're on the same boat here. That is kind of laughable considering I guarantee you 30 to 40% of you don't even remember Jeremy Johnson. You remember Deshaun Watson, Derrick Henry, Leonard Fournette, Dak Prescott, every guy on this list, but you don't remember Jeremy Johnson. So I know what you're sitting here saying. Well, Matt, what happened? And that's a great question, my friend. I have an even better answer. Let's just say a lot. And I mean a lot of bad things happened. Let me show you this play though. On September 19th in 2015, Jeremy Johnson did his best Cam Newton impression against LSU.
Up the middle.
You don't need to see the rest of this video clip to know what happens next. We'll just fast forward. He runs into the end zone.
Still oh my goodness! Touchdown!
Great play. That was about a 70-yard, 75-yard touchdown run? That's amazing. It was a top 20 matchup against LSU, but I'm leaving out something important. When he had that run, they were already down 24-0. The reason for that is fairly simple. Jeremy Johnson, he struggled a lot. And it's not like he just struggled in one game or a couple of games. He struggled all throughout his entire career. You can make a legit argument in case that he is one of the worst Auburn quarterbacks in recent history. I can't remember for the life of me a Heisman Trophy frontrunner who failed this miserably. There's many questions people have been asking about this guy even till this day. But however, it all circles back to the one. And I mean the one big question we're going to try to get to the bottom of in today's video. What really happened to Jeremy Johnson? Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, hope all of you are having a great day. If not, hope this video can make it a little bit better. Just want to stop by and say if you have any recommendations for story videos like this, documentaries, or whatever you want to call them, feel free to leave a comment down below, and who knows, we might make that video. We do take requests on this channel, so yeah, like I said, drop some comments down below. I know you guys are ready to get into this. I am too, so let's get into it. Strap in, buckle up, get you a snack, get you a popcorn, get your favorite meal you like to eat when you watch a video, because trust me, I do the same thing. But all right, Matt, blah, blah, shut the crap up now, without further ado, let's get into it. Mr. Jeremy Johnson played his high school career at George Washington Carver High School, which is located in Montgomery, Alabama. This is where he won Mr. Football, which goes to the best high school football player in the state of Alabama. So it's not like this was some under-the-radar guy. No, he was a beast in high school. He made it to the Army All-American game, and he was also really good at basketball. He was named first-team All-State. When it was all said and done, he was regarded as a 4-star recruit with a 91 overall scout grade according to 24/7 Sports. As far as it goes for his recruitment process, super simple, super easy. Grew up close to Auburn, and that's where he decided to sign and go to. He arrives on the campus in the year 2013, but remember, that is when Nick Marshall became the starter. And you know what? I have realized I just made a oopsie daisy. I said his first career start in the intro was against Arkansas, but it actually was in 2013 against Western Carolina. Nick Marshall didn't play in that game. Auburn won 62-3, but come on, man. Y'all gotta give me a pass for forgetting about that game because it's really a I mean, that's an FCS school, isn't it? My apologies for that, but anyways, that entire 2013 season, it was Nick Marshall's team. And I shouldn't have to explain to you what happened in that 2013 season, because if you don't know, that was the magical year Auburn had with the prayer and Jordan Hare, the kick six, and they beat Georgia on that insane play. That was the most chaotic ending to a regular season for any team that I've ever witnessed. Auburn makes it to the championship. They lose in heartbreaking fashion 34-31 against Florida State, the Seminoles. By the way, shout out to the Seminole fan base. Much love to them. Here's where things start to get interesting. Heading into 2014, Nick Marshall, he's coming back, so presumably he's going to be the starter. But, and I have a really big but, you better believe this, Marshall was suspended for the first half against Arkansas in the season opener. Therefore, Jeremy Johnson, he started. For me to sit up here and tell you against Arkansas, Jeremy Johnson looked insane, that would be understating it. According to his QBR, he was 0.8 points away from being perfect. Finished the ball game going 12 for 16 with 243 passing yards with 2 touchdowns and 0 INTs, QBR of 99.2, one of the highest QBRs you're ever going to see. It's all coming back to me. I actually remember, not a lot of people, but a few people stating, well, wait a minute. Do we have a legit quarterback competition on our hands? Because this Johnson dude, he looks unreal. And you know why people are bringing that up. Recency bias. We see it all the time, and even sometimes I have it. When you see a crazy play or crazy performance within the next 24 to 48 hours, you immediately think it's the best of all time, but in reality, it's not. There's been other crazy plays and performances before. Same thing here. Just because Jeremy Johnson had a flawless game against Arkansas, you can't forget what Nick Marshall did up until that point. Regardless of that, Auburn fans are feeling great because you got Nick Marshall, great college quarterback, and Jeremy Johnson just went off. So you're now thinking, okay, well, we got Marshall this entire remainder of the season, and then whenever he leaves, we'll have Jeremy Johnson. We're good for the next 3 to 4 years. Marshall comes back, and Auburn for that 2014 season, it was a big letdown. Finishes 8-5. Nick Marshall, he departs, and heading into 2015, it was going to be Jeremy Johnson's team. Quick reminder, the only game that Jeremy Johnson started in outside of Western Carolina, he played perfect. And for that reason alone, that's why I think a lot of people got Jeremy Johnson happy. You had all these media outlets and people within ESPN saying, oh, well, we saw him go out there and play insane against Arkansas. Hey, let's throw him in the Heisman conversation. Which yet again, I remember watching all this unfold back in 2015 thinking, what in the crap are they talking about? He had one decent game against an Arkansas team that wasn't even really too good. It seemed a little delusional to me because the way I felt like everybody was approaching this is they were looking for that next Cam Newton. Did Jeremy Johnson play like Cam Newton? No, because Cam Newton was more of a scrambler and Johnson was more of a pocket passer. But when you looked at both of them, both tall, strong, bulky guys with pretty strong arms. But man, oh man, that Heisman conversation and talk, it flew out the window within the first couple of weeks. I mean this in the most respectful way possible. To say this guy sucked might be understating it. Season opener against Louisville. Auburn won the game 31-24, but Johnson, he was quite awful. 11 for 21, that's 54%, buck 37, 1 touchdown, 3 INTs. He stunk it up. But hey, who cares? Season opener had some jitters maybe. Auburn's supposed to win the game. And despite a terrible performance, you walked out of there with a W. And a lot of coaches would tell you this, a game in which you play awful and you can learn a lot from and you still win, that's better than blowing out a team. Because not just in college football, but in life, the best way to learn is to lose. But if you can somehow sneak out a win when you're supposed to lose and you can still learn a lot from it, that's the best thing in the world. However, trying to state the awful performance Jeremy Johnson had in week 1 was a quote-unquote fluke, that wasn't the case. He was awful in week 2 as well against an extremely inferior opponent, Jacksonville State. Auburn got lucky just to win this game. They went into OT with JSU. They sneak it out though, 27-20, and guess what? Johnson plays awful again. 21 for 32, 236, 2 touchdowns, but here's the key problem with him, 2 INTs. Obviously, heading into week 3, Jeremy Johnson has completely fallen out of the Heisman race, just like that, within the snap of a finger. But the big problem for Auburn wasn't, are we going to have a Heisman Trophy quarterback? It was just, dang, are we going to have a quarterback that's decent this year? Although Auburn's 2-0, they've dropped a ton in the rankings. They fell outside the top 10 to number 18 with winning games. They got a top 20 matchup with LSU and Leonard Fournette, and Jeremy Johnson, he didn't play awful, but he wasn't good. 11 for 19, 100 passing yards, not going to get the job done against LSU. 2 touchdowns, 1 IT. At this point in time of the season, Gus Malzahn's like, yeah, we got to make a switch. So heading into week 4 against Mississippi State, Sean White is the quarterback. Man, oh man, Sean White, oh my goodness. That is a name I haven't heard of in years. I low-key forgot he even played quarterback for Auburn. Anyways, against Mississippi State, in which State won 17-9, Sean White, he was okay. 20 for 28, which is really good, but only a $188, 0 touchdowns, 1 INT. Johnson eventually gets back in there and regains a starting job, and the rest of that season was meh at best. That's the best word to describe it. M-E-H. Meh. Against Alabama, or shall I say, against Derrick Henry, who had... Let me show you Derrick Henry's numbers in this game. Oh my goodness. 46 carries, 271 yards. That is insane. Anyways, Jeremy Johnson against Bama, 10 for 23, not good. $170, 1 touchdown, 0 INTs, QBR 65.4. Believe it or not, this is one of his best performances. He played good enough for Auburn to win. Auburn just couldn't run the ball that day. They only had 90 rushing yards. And I guess if you want to throw Johnson a bone, you could say at times the reason he struggled is because the run game wasn't all too special. But even I don't like that argument, because when I went back and watched some of the film preparing for this video, the reason the run game struggled is because of Jeremy Johnson. Teams were loading the box because they knew Jeremy Johnson couldn't beat him through the air. So actually, the more I talk about it, the more I'm thinking is you could blame the lack of run success on Jeremy Johnson. Getting back on track here, within the span of about 4 months, Jeremy Johnson went from 4th best odds to win the Heisman Trophy to, yeah, this guy sucks at quarterback. He decides to come back for the 2016 season, and he doesn't even play. The starter is Sean White. He played a little bit that year, but it was nothing special. I'll pull up his numbers right here. In 2016, he played in 5 games, completed 57% of his passes, had 312 passing yards, 1 touchdown, 2 INTs. There was just nothing to talk about, and with that being his final year of eligibility, that was his senior season, he had no choice but to declare for the NFL draft. Which I know you're either sitting in your car, room, house, wherever, thinking, NFL draft? This guy couldn't even start. Hey, I get it, but it's like, what are you going to do? You have no choice but to either declare for the draft, hopefully somebody takes a chance on you, or you just start your career as a normal civilian. You don't got to be a rocket scientist to figure out what I'm about to say next, and the 2017 NFL draft goes undrafted. He didn't even really try to pursue a career in the NFL, so I do got to give some props for him for knowing he had no shot. Instead, in 2018, this is when he signed with the Columbus Lions out of the NAL, National Arena League. I've never heard of them. Didn't really do too much with them, and eventually, in that same summer of 2018, he would sign with the Canadian Football League for the Saskatchewan. Is that how you say it? Saskatchewan? Yeah, I think so. Rough Riders. Different team, same story. Not too much happened there. And he would join the American Arena League in 2019 for the West Virginia Rough Riders. And this is where things get crazy. In 2020, he would join the FAM, which stands for the Football American Mexico League. Apparently, though, he was pretty good. The team he signed with, he had 1,500 passing yards with 16 touchdowns to only 6 INTs and won MVP of his team. Things were going good for him, but in 2022, he would sign with the FAA League, another league I never heard of. I'm going to try to dumb this down. This is a different top league in Mexico. And it's really similar to the FAM because the FAM had to shut down, so he just pretty much stayed in Mexico and signed with the LFA. And guess what? He picked up right where he left off. He led his team to an outstanding 10-0 record. I can't even believe these numbers. He had 2,400 passing yards with 32 touchdowns. Listen to this. Only 3 interceptions. Yes, that is right. You heard me correctly. Mr. Jeremy Johnson had 32 touchdowns to only 3 INTs. Unreal, man. Straight up unreal. And as where it stands today, he is still playing quarterback in that league. And I got to clap it up to him. That is amazing. He's also the quarterback's coach and JV offensive coordinator for a team in Montgomery. Let's answer the question we sometimes ask at the end of these videos. Is Jeremy Johnson a winner or a loser? In my humble opinion, I don't even know why I'm asking, and he's most certainly a winner. He embodies what winning is in this life. He could have easily, when he lost his starting job at Auburn, crumbled up to a ball, cried, say, why me, this sucks, and play the victim. But he decided, no, I'm going to keep trying my best, give my life this best shot I got, and look at where he's at. Sure, he may not be playing in the NFL or some other notable league, but he's still playing professional football. Say what you want, but he's thriving and succeeding in life. And to go on top of that, he's a quarterback's coach at a high school, and eventually you got to assume he'll become a head coach somewhere. And what I love most about his story is 0 off-the-field problems. If you are going to fail as an athlete, let it be because you're simply not good enough. And I know that's harsh, but that's what you want to leave it up to because that's an uncontrollable factor. What you can control in this life is staying out of trouble. Let's answer this question as well. Why didn't things work out at Auburn? I think this one is as simple as he just wasn't a very accurate passer. He struggled to read defenses, and we can chalk it up to he wasn't good enough. But I really don't even want to focus on that too much because, man, oh man, I'm just so pleased with how this story ended. To Jeremy Johnson, if you are somehow, some way seeing this video, my brother, wishing you the best of luck, and I got a ton of respect for you, my man. I hope you continue to thrive and succeed in whatever you want to do, especially your coaching career. Let me know your thoughts and all this down below. But, Roman.